Welcome to
Brutal.
the MMA podcast.
How's everyone doing this morning?
Pretty good.
Great.
Hypoglycemic.
Hypoglycemic.
Let's go. That's huge.
That's huge. That's big.
Huge. That's big.
All right, so let's hop into these. Let's first go over by saying we got the records on the board of our predict picks, and I'm in last place, but I have the best record. You may
And I'm in
ask,
first place with the best record.
how does that make any sense? It fucking doesn't. So the way Verdict works is you put XP on people, and the thing that matters usually most is when the person wins, how they win. That's the biggest XP modifier. So they all pick the better finishes. I just picked the people correctly. So we got Charles in first, Kaitlin in second, third is Daniel. I don't want to hear your bullshit, and fourth is me. So I'm coming for blood next event. I'm gonna blast you guys out of the water. Tell you that much.
I don't know about that one, Chief. We'll see.
Get your fucking toes out of the fucking shop.
Whose toes
I
are
will
those?
jump across this table and make you love me.
Is that a
All right.
promise?
On to the prelims, please.
Please.
So Themba Gorimbo versus Takashi Sato.
Sato.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to the prelims. And we've got Themba Gorimbo versus Takashi Sato. I just want to go over this really quick because Colby Covington has been supplying Themba Gorimbo with food because he's been financially struggling. Everyone seems to hate on Colby Covington a lot, and his character kind of comes off as a bit of an asshole. But it's really cool to see him supporting the younger generation of fighters on their way up the sport. So I'm really happy to see that.
That's cool.
Props to Colby Covington.
When you said food, that was a metaphor.
That was a metaphor?
Was it a metaphor?
No.
Oh, he's like actually giving him food.
Yeah, he was getting him
Mhm.
food.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, no, he's struggling financially, so you need help with food. So he gave him like food and like helped him financially. So
Oh, I remember that
Sweet.
guy. I remember the fight. That was a good
Colby
fight.
Covington?
No. Themba.
Oh, Themba,
I
yeah.
remember. That was a good
Themba
fight.
had a really good fight with Takashi Sato. It wasn't super entertaining, but he did really good for his debut. So
I mean, I think
Those fights
Garimbo
weren't bad
knocked
Oh, it was his
Sato
second fight,
down
not
2 or
debut.
3 times.
what's that?
Garimbo knocked down Sato 2 or 3 times.
I think it was only once.
I have to
It was a
rewatch
right
that
hand.
fight. I'm almost positive that he was dropped more than once in between like 2 or 3.
There might have been a slip.
Maybe.
I think I remember something like that, but I know there was one knockdown with an overhand right. So Garimbo, really good showing in his first fight. Good way to start off the prelims and set the tone. Natalia Silva, though, really stole the show in the prelims. So
That was
Natalia Silva
solid.
had that first round TKO. Amazing combos, I got to say. Really fast hands. Reminds me of a younger Jessica Andrade. And she put the fire out there, and she really made Leonardo crumble under the pressure.
DiCaprio?
Ah, lordy.
The turtle from
Stole my joke.
Was it
You
TMNT?
stole my dad joke.
The turtle? What are you talking about?
The famous artist?
Leonardo da Vinci?
Yes.
Da Vinci?
We have this on
Da
camera.
I'm losing my mind. This is going to be all over the place.
So-
Let's move on to Chase Hooper. The teenage dream. No longer a teenager. Going into that adult body. We've got Chase Hooper with the 3-round decision. I mean, he did what he really needed to do, which was throw his volume out there. He needs to work on the strike defense, and his wrestling definitely needs improvement. But his scrambles and grappling was really good, and he actually set the third-place record for most strikes landed in a lightweight fight. It was actually second for 3-round fights, but third for overall,
What was it?
including like, championship
121?
fights. What's that?
What was it? 121 strikes?
212 strikes landed.
You got the
A little
1 and
off.
2 and 1 in there somewhere.
Sure thing. But I was really happy to see Chase Hooper kind of grow into his frame. He looks like he's really found a new home at lightweight, and I'm really happy to see him improve. It's good to see these prospects.
I
Really,
think in the post fight interview, he mentioned that he feels good too. In
Yeah.
this
no,
weight
he's
division.
cutting a lot less weight. He's cutting a lot less weight.
Good
So,
for him.
back from some technical difficulties, we have Slava Claus, aka the name I can't pronounce. I'm not trying it. You guys want to try it?
Vyacheslav Borshchev.
Probably pretty good, honestly. Michael Bisping did a really well good. I can't speak today.
He did the really well good.
He had a really good job pronouncing his name, and Michael Bisping does his research, so it was really good to see him pronouncing the names correctly, unlike some of these commentators. But he put the fire on Miyashite. I mean, Miyashite is, I think, only 23, so he's really young in the sport. He still has a lot of room to improve. He ate a lot of really big shots. After the third time he got dropped, referee stopped it, and it was like a proper stoppage. So it was a really good affair to watch overall. Did you guys have any opinions on that fight? Did you like the Russian dancing at the end?
That was great.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, no, he was doing very well the whole time, dominating, and then that Russian dancing really sealed
Was this
deal.
the fight with an eye poke? I think it was an
Yeah.
eye poke, and
Yeah,
his eyes started bleeding.
His eyes started. That was hype.
Yeah, I thought
No, not
he
the
was gonna
poke. Not
lose.
the poke. Not the poke. What? Sorry, I cut Charles off. I don't give a shit.
Does anyone fucking care about Charles?
used to.
Borshev was a unit that fight.
Yeah.
Not only was a unit, but he also was striking like a unit.
Yeah.
That was awesome to see. I really liked. I like seeing when a fighter just doesn't bitch and complain about something.
Yeah.
And just keeps going for it.
He got hit with a nut shot as well. So he got hit with a nut shot, and he got eye poked, and his eye was bleeding, but he only took like about a minute for the eye poke and maybe 5 seconds for the nut shot.
And
kept moving on.
he just steamrolled right over him. Right.
I thought he
the
was
rest of
gonna.
the
I thought
fight.
the ref was gonna stop it, or the doctor stoppage because of that eye poke, because it seemed like it went on for a while, and they were like looking at it over and over again, and he was barely opening his eyes, but you could tell he wanted to get back in there. He didn't really care about his eye, and then he got back in there and he won. And I was like, okay, that's a much better finisher. So I was happy about that.
Yeah, Borshev showed some heart, and I'm really glad with the finish. Can't wait to see what he puts out there next. Let's move on to Diego Ferreira and Michael Johnson. The Menace was really putting the pressure on in the first and second. I was really happy to see him landing his combos, slipping the punches, but got caught on the way out when those strikes, got flattened like a board, and just really disappointed me. Can't lie. I love Michael Johnson. I think he's one of those guys who beats almost any guy you put in front of because he's got the fastest hands in lightweight I've ever seen. But just got caught on the way out. Unfortunate. Don't know where he goes from here.
Looked like he got hit with a taser. It was like just like
Yeah.
he
That's a
gets
good-
hit and he goes like, and he locks up like a board, hits the ground, and he was like that in that position for at least 30 seconds.
And surely
They
there's
were
some
all over him, and he was
there's
still
some
like that.
photographs of how Ferreira was holding him afterwards.
Yeah.
It looked like
He
a
cradled him.
that was a
for a
caress
second, he
right
went to
there.
go and check on him, cradled his head. It was great.
There was something out of a romance.
It was
film there.
romantical.
Straight up. Straight up.
He was feeling romantical. All right.
Romantical.
Let's move on to new Mansa, Joaquin Buckley versus Andre Fialho. The first Portuguese fighter ever versus Joaquin Buckley.
Ever?
I expected Joaquin Buckley to dominate, and he sort of did. His striking was really crisp, really clean. The first round was a little bit up in the air because on the way in, Joaquin Buckley kept getting caught with those straight rights. But he figured out to get past it and landed a really good high kick in the second round to finish him off. And in the new weight class, he looks strong. His cardio's good and still powerful. So I'm really happy to see his welterweight debut go well, and can't wait to see what he does from here.
And I never saw such a counter-centric fighter, at least in the short time that I've been watching. So that was kind of cool to see. I don't know what that does for scoring. I would think that's not
When you're
in
talking
his
about
advantage.
counter-centric, did you mean Fialho or did you mean
Fialho.
Okay,
Not Buckley. No.
Yeah,
Buckley's zipping around all the time trying to make something happen.
very, very headstrong. The referees look at like what's landed, what's not landed, control time, etc. And Fialho, they do like counter striking fighters.
Okay. So when something doesn't land, is that a negative or is that just
Definitely negative.
a neutral?
So if you're making a guy miss, that's what Bobby Green seems to do a lot. Shout out Bobby Green. If you're using your head movement and the guy's just throwing punches and they're just hitting air, the referees are looking at that. They're like, oh wow, he can't land a punch. Joaquin Buckley was hitting a lot of air tonight, but he landed when it mattered. So really glad to see him get the knockout finish there.
Yeah, no, it was generally just a solid fight. Fialho, yeah, as you mentioned, Fialho was very technical the whole time, and it was honestly, it was kind of scary. Like I thought he was gonna. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Buckley was like, I thought it was close. It was very, very close, especially for that whole first round, second round as well. But yeah, then all of a sudden, Buckley just caught him out, and
it looked like Fialho just was like he was ready. He was so primed and ready.
yeah,
to get that one counter that he needed to just.
He was
scoop
landing
Buckley up.
that right hand really well. But the thing is, I think Mansa just kept it fresh. That was a good thing. He didn't stay predictable. He had some points where he didn't move his head on the center line. I was worried that right hand was going to shoot through and he was going to get caught. I've seen him get caught by the exact same punch by Kevin Holland. But I think at welterweight, his chin looks a little bit better too. So he looked athletic. His wrestling was good too. He needs to work on control, but he's very athletic double legs. So really happy to see the new Mansa do well in that new weight class. And he had a hilarious post-fight interview. I don't like that he called out Logan Paul.
Oh, man.
But it was definitely something.
I do want to
understand why.
He wants money.
Why. Yeah, I know they want money, but it's
he was asking for a sponsorship. He wasn't asking for a fight, but he was calling him out for a sponsorship, which was really weird to me. But
that is a little weird.
I mean, these fighters out here struggling. Dana White, pay your fighters better. All right, let's move on to Edmund Shabazian versus Fluffy Anthony Hernandez. Anthony Hernandez did so much better than I thought he would when it comes to striking. He did really good on the feet after the first round. He put the pressure on, was landing amazing striking. Edmund gassed out in the very first round, and it was all Fluffy from there. I think we all had submission or decision for Fluffy.
Yeah. We did, yeah.
But he poured the striking on and got him out of there in the third round. It was a really good fight for him. I mean, he's on a 4-fight winning streak in middleweight now, and I think he deserves a higher ranked opponent because I don't think Edmund is ranked anymore. So I don't think he's in the rankings yet, but he definitely deserves someone in the top 15, especially after a main event or a co-main event win like that.
Hernandez, that fight was dominating.
Yeah.
It was terrifying for Edmund. I mean, he was just on the floor the whole time, taking all the heat from Hernandez. I don't see why not. Put him up higher, get him some better fights.
Yeah.
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 And we got you guys can talk about this fight.
Oh yes, the Dern versus Hill fight. Solid fight. Very happy.
He's just gonna take a break.
It was the fights before, they were like okay on my verdict, and I wasn't doing too swell, but lucky for me, I put almost all of my XP onto an unknown nickname Dern, and put for decision. Got right up to first, as you can see.
I'd get up right up in there.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna legally allowed to. We're not gonna allow Gabe to
Hear no evil.
really. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was a solid fight all around. Dern was absolutely throwing her around the whole time. Had complete control over the situation basically the entire time. All 3 rounds. I was actually very, very surprised there was no finisher, because.
Well, no, she was beating her head in.
Yeah, she was beating her head in.
I think 3 and 4, she was just actually hitting her with hammer fists on the ground. But I think 2 out of 5 of those rounds were 10-8s for us, at least scoring. On our verdict, where Hill just got manhandled.
And it was just she tried to put her in a bunch of different submissions the whole time. She was trying to put her in arm bars and guillotines and everything, and it was just the whole time. I'm baffled none of them actually were cinched, because it was just it was the whole time just fight, fight, wrestling, beating the shit out of Hill.
I mean, Hill did a decent job at stopping those submission attempts. She muscled her way out of a lot of them. But she couldn't do anything in the scramble. She was always on the bottom.
Absolutely, yeah. No, yeah, she was doing well for herself, but fuck. Holy shit.
Her control in those last few rounds were really impressive, I tell you what. All right, let's move on to the next card, which is, I think, UFC...
I think it's another fight night.
Yeah, but I think it's in Vegas, so it's UFC Vegas 74 probably. But... starting off the main card, we got a fight that doesn't matter. 2 bums, Maxim Grishin and Felipe Lins. They're probably just going to try and knock each other out really sloppily, get gas in the first round, and then do nothing for 3 rounds. I watched both these guys fight. They're not entertaining. They don't bring anything to the sport. Sorry, guys.
Grishin's been in here that long, and then
They
not doing anything.
Neither of these guys are really doing much.
Unfortunately.
Damon Blackshear. I love Damon Blackshear. He's really got his last fight out. He had a tie actually, which is not too common. But He really puts the pressure on. Great wrestling, jacked to the gills. Overall, just a very good grappler. He's got decent striking. I'm hoping he comes out and impresses with the grappling a little bit more.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, hopefully Daman ends up being Daman, and I don't know. I'm hoping. I'm sorry. I had to. But
I'm gonna kill myself.
anyways, on to the next one.
Next
Santos.
fight on the prelims, we're skipping the chick fight. I don't know really too much about either of those girls, and hopefully they have a great outing. But they need to kind of like prove themselves a little bit more before they're too big of names. We got Daniel Santos and we got Johnny Munoz. I've seen both these guys fight. Munoz is pretty solid, but Daniel Santos is a beast. Student of Charles Oliveira.
I was gonna say
I've made an edit on this man.
One. Yeah.
I love this guy. He's the definition of just like heart. He goes into the firefight. He'll eat some punches, get knocked down. You can throw everything at him, but he'll eat it and he'll send it back 10 times harder. His last fight was with a guy who's 2 fights above him on the prelims, which I think is really disrespectful. He knocked this guy out, John Castaneda, and if you scroll up on that card, Daniel Santos is 2 spots under John Castaneda for this next fight. So don't know what's up with that.
Was this rescheduled from another fight night? I
This
feel
was-
like he was supposed to fight earlier in the month. Or
He was.
like
So
last month.
he had a injury. I'm not exactly sure what the injury was. They never disclosed it. But Daniel Santos did have an injury, so that could be the reason for why he's under John Castaneda. But I still don't see why. But I'm really excited for that fight. I think Daniel Santos really puts it on Johnny Munoz and probably knocks him out in the first or second. You can't kill that kid. That kid's gonna kill you.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to see that one. That should be pretty interesting, especially with all the stuff you've talked about Santos and stuff. I don't think I've seen him fight. Have I?
That it?
I have.
I think we all watched the last fight.
Yeah.
I
How
think we
recent
watched
was
that
it?
one. Huh?
How recent?
We didn't watch that one live.
Oh,
That was
okay,
one I
never
like
mind.
showed you guys separately.
Oh, okay. That's why. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I meant. I've never seen him fight live.
You'll enjoy him. But sadly, this isn't this weekend. This is in 2 weekends. So this will be.
So
in
is there
June.
nothing next week?
There's nothing next week.
Okay.
There'll probably be some like boxing or some other MMA events that
Hopefully a YouTuber boxing event somewhere in there
God,
that
can't
I can
wait
talk
for me.
about.
you can go talk about in a corner by yourself. Andrei Arlovsky and Dante Miles. Andrei Arlovsky's been in the sport for years. He's been fighting professionally since before I was born, and I think this is his 38th, 37th UFC fight.
that is a huge record. 34 and 21.
He's a former UFC
That's
champion.
crazy.
He's been fighting in light heavyweight and heavyweight for a really long time. And I think he puts the pressure on Dante Miles. Dante Miles isn't too experienced of an opponent. I think Andrei Arlovsky uses his experience and probably just wrestles him down, gets a decision victory. Nothing too interesting there.
No, I don't see no contest often, but both of these fighters have no contest results. What was that from? Do you know?
Andre's been around forever. It could be really for anything.
Yeah.
No contest is like a very wide range of things. It could be an illegal knee. It could be a failed drug test. It could be so many things.
Mm.
I'm not really too familiar with either of their no contests, but they both have one. Or one has one, the other one has two. Not really sure what those are for. But no contest is like a very, very wide range of things.
Okay.
Next, we got John Castaneda, as I mentioned before, and Matush Medonka. Medonka, I've seen fight before. Not very impressive. He came into the UFC with an undefeated record, lost his debut, and I think he fought a very experienced opponent for his debut, though. So I understand why he did lose. But I think John Castaneda causes too many problems for him and puts him out on his feet, maybe in the first or second. Kind of the same thing as Daniel Santos.
That man has blue hair.
Very bright blue hair.
That is crazy.
I think he changes it pretty often, so I don't know what it'll be for this fight, but
Man, just a rainbow.
he just might be a rainbow. We got Ubab. Oh wow, this is.
Have fun with that.
Try and pronounce it.
I know how to pronounce it. Abubakar Nurmagomedov. I know how to pronounce his name.
Oh.
Hey, yo.
I'm just excited because I didn't know he was fighting on this card. Abubakar Nurmagomedov and Elizeu Zaleski Dos Santos.
Nailed it.
Dos Santos was in a fight with a man named. I'll just call him by his nickname because I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but it's God of War. And the God of War is a really good fighter, but he was out on his feet for I think they were in Dubai, and this referee was new. He was not defending himself whatsoever, and Santos must have landed 40 to 50 strikes unanswered, and the guy was unconscious on his feet.
My God.
And the referee never stopped the fight, so ended up going to decision. This guy's a slaughterer. He doesn't care what's going on in front of him. He won't walk away.
Surely, if he kept bashing on him after he went unconscious.
I felt bad for God of War. The name is escaping me, but that guy is really great fight. He's been undefeated since that one fight where he got destroyed on his feet. But it was really good. But Abubakar is a cousin of Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I don't see how you beat him, honestly. His wrestling is supreme. He has pretty decent striking. He's not undefeated like most of the Nurmagomedov brothers, but they're from Dagestan. I think the Dagestani handcuffs goes a long way, and I think the wrestling overpowers Santos. So it'll be a really interesting fight, but I don't see it going any other way.
Do you think Dos Santos is looking for a small window to just start flurrying on
I think his only opportunity is to land a striking affair and make it a striking affair and land from the outside. Really hard power strikes. I haven't seen Abubakar fight too often. He's not the most active fighter. I see him coaching a lot more than I do see him fighting. But it'll be a really interesting matchup. Let's move on to Jamie Malarkey and Guram Kutsaladze. I have high hopes, and I very much do like Jamie Malarkey, but he picked off more than he can chew here. Guram Kutsaladze is he looks like, if you want to pull up a picture of him, he looks like a Nordic Viking from like the...
I mean, you could just see it in the little thing right there.
That doesn't do it justice. This man is built like crazy. I mean, look at this dude. This dude is jacked to the gills, and he wrestles like a maniac. The only losses he has in his career are 2 split decisions, I believe, and they were close fights. And these were with top talents. These are with guys who are in the top 15 now. So I'm a big fan of a guy like Jamie Malarkey. He has great striking. He actually beat Michael Johnson, the Menace, in a split decision fight. I thought Michael Johnson won that fight, but Jamie Malarkey really did show heart. And the fact that he could even squeak out a split decision shows a lot. I think Guram Kutsaladze gets it done. So, yeah.
All right, let's go Vikings.
Let's go Vikings.
All right, so we got Tim Elliott and Victor Altamirano. This isn't a close fight. I'm actually a little surprised they made this fight in general. Tim Elliott, he has a little bit of a reputation for being dirty, but he's very durable fighter. And Victor Altamirano is an unproven prospect. I wonder if they made this one short notice, but Tim Elliott has a lot more than Victor can really put out there. I see Tim Elliott's only ranked one here. This Victor's like second or third fight in the UFC, I believe. Haven't seen him do a whole lot in flyweight. He doesn't have power, doesn't have great wrestling. Tim Elliott has both of those. I wouldn't say his power, but he definitely has great wrestling and grappling.
Is there somebody you would have preferred to see Tim Elliott fight on this card?
No one in particular, but someone ranked.
Someone better.
Someone better. That's someone better than Victor. Victor's still young, but he started MMA when he was like 24 or something. So he started very late. He doesn't really have the skill that Tim Elliott has. I think it's a wash for Tim Elliott.
Good shit on Victor.
Next, we got Jim Miller and the unfortunate Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon, great fighter, but I swear, last fight out, he got knocked out by a clash of heads.
Ooh.
And, got finished by Bobby Green in a clash of heads affair. And the fight before that, he lost a decision, I think split or unanimous. In a fight, he definitely beat Paddy Pimblett in. So, Jim Miller.
Oh wait, so that was this guy?
Yeah,
that's
that was
the
this
one
guy.
that everyone was mad about.
Yeah, Jim Miller is a definite savage. I think he has the most wins in UFC history, actually. I believe he has the most the most fights and most wins. Something up there. Jim Miller, great fighter. I think he beats Jared Gordon. Jim Miller is 40 or 39 or 40. And I think he just has a lot more for Jared Gordon than he can chew on, So, yeah, that's a really entertaining fight. I think Jim Miller knocks him out, to be honest. Maybe second or third round. Old man power for the win.
Old man power, OP.
We got Daniel Pineda and Max Caceres. Not a big fan of Daniel Pineda, but Alex Caceres always puts on the fire. I think Alex Caceres has 2 straight wins. He's got the throw of a lifetime.
I'm seeing that on the profile picture there.
It's a Mikey Jackson type.
That
shit.
is a Mikey Jackson throw right there.
Yeah. Daniel Pineda is kind of just like a staple in the division. He's not really chaining a lot of wins together or a lot of losses either. He's kind of just there to be there. He's generally a very all-around good game, but I don't think he does a lot against Alex Caceres. I think Caceres gets to the ground, maybe a submission in the 3rd round or something like that, but nothing too interesting on that one. But Kaikara France and Amir Albazi. Kaikara France washes this dude. I think Amir Albazi has a lot of potential, and I think he's really good, but Kaikara France has insane striking power and potential for the flyweight division. I think he beats anyone except for the current champion, Brandon Moreno. So I think Kai did fight someone else that he lost to somewhat recently, but I know he did starch Cody Garbrandt, which I'm not really happy about. But overall, average card.
I'm
I think we're all waiting
recognizing
for the
that
next pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm realizing I don't know any of these people at all.
They're not big names.
Yeah.
Jim Miller, I think, is the biggest name on this card, and that's saying a lot.
That's
So,
No, what fight are you most excited for on this one, even if it's not?
probably Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon.
All right.
Jared Gordon's coming off of a no contest. That's what his no contest is from, Clash of Heads. He's fun to watch, but I don't think I like his story more than his fighting.
Yeah.
Jim Miller is a former addict. Not Jim Miller. Jared Gordon is a former addict, and he's a really good story. But
Let's go, Jared.
Jim Miller is an old man savage, so I think he gets it done there.
Man, looks like he has a farm and cuts wooden logs for.
He acts
For
like
free
it too,
time.
and he's built like it too. He's pretty jacked. But anything else you guys want to go over?
No particular.
No,
Just,
but I do have a question.
I'd like to hear your question.
So, we mentioned things like striking, grappling, like wrestling. Would you say there's a sort of like rock paper scissors kind of deal going on there of like, oh, does striking usually counter people that grapple more? Like, what's like the triangle there?
It's very person by person, but wrestling beats most forms of striking. I think we saw it with Jailton Almeida.
Yeah.
We saw a pure kickboxer versus a pure grappler, and we know how that ended. As a striker, you need to have an anti-wrestling base. So a good example of that is Israel Adesanya. I think the only time he's ever utilized his wrestling in a fight is for Alex Pereira, who's a pure kickboxer. And even then, it didn't really do great for him, at least in the first bout. Second bout, a little bit different. But as a striker, you just need to be able to not get taken down. That's basically your only goal when you're fighting a grappler. Because if your striking is good enough, you'll be able to rely on your striking. But if they can get you to the ground, what's the point of having all that striking?
Right.
So I think grappling always beats striking if you don't have any grappling prowess at all. That's why a lot of people say boxers aren't successful when coming into MMA, and usually it's pretty accurate. So you need to have a good wrestling base to do anything in this sport.
Okay. So then would you say there isn't necessarily a particular style of fighting that counters grappling other than being ready for anti-takedown?
It depends on the grappling, like the martial art itself. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really good for submissions.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling generally, like a Greco-Roman, collegiate, whatever, that's just really good for having control and getting on top of someone. And then there's stuff like Sambo, where it's like a mix of the two. Sambo is a very dominant art. That's what most of the Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev, all these Dagestani fighters, they all do Sambo, which is a very wrestle heavy, but you can also strike in that sport. You can also grapple in that sport, but it's all ground dominant. So it's Sambo's a really good overall sport to know. So is jiu-jitsu, so is wrestling, but if you just have boxing or kickboxing or Muay Thai, those are great and all, but you got to have the full base.
You're
That's why it's
generally
called mixed
fucked if you try and
martial
just
arts.
do like one thing. I've never seen well, I don't see it often, at least. I don't see fighters who are like focused in one thing besides grappling do very well. So if you get like a box, like a kickboxer, it's like they can do okay if they're versus another kickboxer.
I think
but-
the perfect example
Yeah.
was that Jarinza Rosenstrike versus the Jilton Almeida fight. I think
Mhm.
everyone here saw
Yeah.
that kind of coming. So, yeah.
No, that makes sense.
We good to sign off?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, right?
Any
We have to wait a while.
fun random stories though?
Fun random stories.
I want to hear about your disgusting lives.
I don't have a life.
Same.
Me neither. But I won last week, so
So through verdict, we basically got Charles pulling ahead at first, which is really starting to get on my nerves. But
Always a zinger.
I'm just gonna dump all of my XP onto an underdog, and then you'll see what happens.
hey, all I need, I said it last week. I said I needed 2 wins in a row to win, to get into first place on our one that we've had for a good while. Well, that was my first one. I am now, I think, how many? Like 5 points behind you, maybe?
That sounds right.
Don't
And-
care. You're still
and-
behind me. When you get ahead of me, you
And
can
when
talk.
all I do, when I win next week, even though I know nothing about any of these fighters, when I win,
It's not next week. It's in 2
in
weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
You should put
So you
money
gotta
on
wait
it.
2 weeks then. You got a grace period then.
I'll put money on that.
Yeah. You should
Put
put money.
money?
On
You want to put money on it?
Uh,
You seem so confident.
Yeah,
You know
there's a
what?
lot
Okay,
of confidence
sure.
coming up.
What do you want to put on it?
Yeah.
What do you want to put on it?
2 chicken nuggets.
I'll put 4 brain cells on it.
That's a lot.
No.
That's like most of his reserve.
What are you putting on it? I'll put $20.
Okay, yeah.
20 bucks?
Yeah, 20 bucks.
By the end of the season.
All right.
Season ends officially in July. There's like an actual season end for Verdict. So
Oh,
when
really?
the season ends, because
Oh, I
it'll
thought we
tell
were
you.
just talking about next week, but sure.
No. It'll tell you like
Yeah, one of us has to get first
by the
place
end of the
then.
season what the winner is. So if I'm ahead of you by the end of the season, I get $20. If you're ahead of me by the end of the season, you get $20.
Does that mean
Fuck
if we
yeah.
win, we
What
get
happens
40
if
bucks?
I get first place? 'Cause
I
I'm
don't
also
care.
We
right
get 40
behind
bucks.
Didn't
you.
We
ask.
get 40 bucks.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm
Your
asking.
opinion doesn't matter. You're a woman. I'm fully kidding.
We're clipping that one.
Oh God.
Yeah.
If you want to jump in, we could do the $20 thing forever, but I don't think we should all give each other $20 because we're poor.
I'm not going
True.
in on this. I'm
Exactly.
dumb as hell when it
Exactly.
comes to UFC
I just
fights.
would think it would be very funny since I'm pretty much tied with Charles for our second for second. If I win and you guys just both don't get your $20, you have to give it to me, even though I'm not in your bet.
I'll
think
think
it'd be
about it.
funny.
I'll think
Yeah,
about
well-
I think it'd be funny as hell.
We'll consider it.
it. I'll consider your proposition,
Yes.
but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Bloody
All right.
hell.
Well,
Alrighty.
see you guys in the next one.
Okay.
Appreciate it.